Recommendations for software manufacturers. These recommendations is crucial in reducing the prevalence of exploitable flaws that enable LOTL tactics. Minimizing attack surfaces. Software manufacturers are urged to minimize attack surfaces that can be exploited by cyber threat actors using LOTL techniques. This includes disabling unnecessary protocols by default, limiting the number of processes and programs running with escalated privileges, and taking proactive steps to limit the ability for actors to leverage native functionality for intrusions. Embedding security in the SDLC. Security should be embedded into the product architecture throughout the entire software development lifecycle, SDLC. This proactive integration ensures that security considerations are not an afterthought but a fundamental component of the product from inception to deployment. Mandating multi-factor authentication, MFA. Manufacturers should mandate MFA, ideally phishing-resistant MFA, for privileged users and make it a default feature rather than an optional one. This step significantly enhances the security of user accounts, particularly those with elevated access. Reducing hardening guide size. The size of hardening guides that accompany products should be tracked and reduced. As new versions of the software are released, the aim should be to shrink the size of these guides over time by integrating their components as the default configuration of the product. Considering user experience. The user experience consequences of security settings must be considered. Ideally, the most secure setting should be integrated into the product by default, and when configuration is necessary, the default option should be secure against common threats. This approach reduces the cognitive burden on end users and ensures broad protection. Removing default passwords. Default passwords should be eliminated entirely or, where necessary, be generated or set upon first install and then rotated periodically. This practice prevents the use of default passwords as an easy entry point for malicious actors. Limiting dynamic code execution. Dynamic code execution, while offering versatility, presents a vulnerable attack surface. Manufacturers should limit or remove the capability for dynamic code execution due to the high risk and the challenge of detecting associated indicators of compromise, IOCs. Removing hard-coded credentials. Applications and scripts containing hard-coded plaintext credentials pose a significant security risk. Removing such credentials is essential to prevent malicious actors from using them to access resources and expand their presence within a network.